Good morning everyone. Today we will be presenting on the impact of COVID-19 on Apple. During the pandemic, Apple faced several challenges including supply chain disruption and the temporary closure of its retail store. In this presentation, I will explain how these challenges affected Apple's financial performance and operation, as well as the strategies the company used to overcome them and remain one of the world's leading technology companies. Let me begin with the background of this topic. The COVID-19 pandemic had a significant impact on Apple by disrupting its global supply chain and retail operation. Lockdowns and factory closure, especially in China, delayed the production of important products such as the iPhone, iPad, and Mac. Although customer demand remained high, Apple faced difficulty in producing and delivering enough product, resulting in estimated revenue impact of around $4 to $8 billion. Besides production issue, many Apple stores around the world were temporarily closed. This reduced walk-in customer, limited product demonstration, and Genius Bar services, and affected the overall retail experiences.
Now I will explain two major challenges faced by Apple. First, let's look at supply chain disruption. Apple relies heavily on Foxconn, one of its largest manufacturing partners, to assemble iPhones and other Apple products using components from suppliers around the world. During the COVID-19 pandemic, lockdowns at Foxconn factories in Shenzhen and Zhengzhou disrupted operation. Many workers were unable to work, causing manufacturing operations to slow down. As a result, the supply of raw materials and components were interrupted. This led to production delay, slower assembly, and longer waiting times for customers. It also showed that Apple heavily depends on a limited number of suppliers, making its supply chain more vulnerable to unexpected disruption and increased operational risk. Next, let's discuss innovation and competitive challenges. The technology industry is changing very quickly, which competitors are introducing advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence, AI, foldable smartphones, and innovative digital services at a much faster pace. Apple has faced challenges in keeping up with these developments, especially in improving Siri and expanding its Apple Intelligence platform. Meanwhile, the competitors like Samsung, Huawei, and Google have already introduced more advanced AI features in their device. Because of this, Apple is under increasing pressure to innovate faster and maintain its position as a global technology leader. Continuous innovation is essential for Apple to stay competitive and meet customer expectations.
For intervention issue 1, the main challenge is production disruption in Apple's supply chain. To address this, Apple is strengthening its supply chain to diversification, technological innovation, and strategic investment. First, Apple is reducing the risk of production disruption by expanding manufacturing to countries like India and Vietnam instead of relying heavily on China. At the same time, Apple is investing in digital management system and increasing its inventory of critical components to ensure production can continue even during unexpected disruption. Second, Apple is diversifying its supply chain by sourcing critical parts from multiple locations. For example, semiconductors are supplied by TSMC from different manufacturing sites, reducing the risk of delay caused by regional issues. Apple has also expanded production facility in India and established a Mac Pro manufacturing facility in Texas, which improves supply chain resilience, support local production, and strengthen long-term business growth. Next, Apple is also focusing on technological innovation to improve its supply chain performance. The company uses artificial intelligence, big data, and predictive analytics to improve demand forecasting and inventory management. This allows Apple to deliver products on time while meeting changing customer demand. In addition, Apple uses real-time data analysis to monitor its supply chain and predict potential disruption before they happen. This enables the company to respond quickly by adjusting production plan, reducing delay, and improving overall operational efficiency. As a result, this initiative creates several positive outcomes. Apple becomes more resilient to supply chain disruption with a more diversified and flexible supply chain, improve efficiency while optimizing costs, and strengthen its brand image and stakeholder trust. Together, this strategy helps Apple achieve long-term growth and maintain its competitive advantage in the global market.
I will now present the proposed interventions to address Apple's innovation and AI challenges. There are three main interventions. The first intervention is to fix Siri by partnering with Google Gemini. The action is for Apple to stop building every AI model completely from scratch and instead work with Google Gemini. This allows Apple to improve Siri more quickly. The strategy is to integrate Google Gemini AI into Siri. This can improve Siri's conversation, contextual awareness, and also screen recognition while Apple continues developing its own AI technology in the background. For the timeline, in early 2026, Apple finalized the partnership with Google and begins the first phase of integration. Then, in late 2026, the upgraded series is released globally through the next software update, providing users with a more advanced AI assistant. The second intervention is to launch a premium iPhone Fold to compete with Samsung and Huawei. The action is to launch a high-end foldable iPhone by late 2026. The strategy is to focus on quality instead of speed. Rather than rushing to release a foldable phone, Apple should develop a premium device with a crease-free display, a titanium body, and high-performance features. This helps Apple compete by offering a better product instead of simply entering the market. For the timeline, from 2020 to 2024, Apple focused on research, patent, and testing foldable display technology. In 2025, Apple prepared its supply chain and manufacturing with key suppliers. Finally, in late 2026, the iPhone Fold is expected to launch globally alongside the iPhone 18 Pro lineup. The third intervention is to focus on privacy-first AI as Apple's unique selling point. The action is to position the Apple Intelligence as the safest and most secure AI ecosystem. The strategy is to promote on-device AI processing so that users' personal data stays on their device whenever possible. For more advanced AI tasks, Apple uses private cloud compute which keep data encrypted and secure. This helps build customer trust and give Apple an advance over competitors. For the timeline, in 2024, Apple introduced Apple Intelligence and private cloud compute. In 2025, it expanded AI features and language support. From 2026 onwards, Apple plans to expand its secure cloud infrastructure while continuing to protect users' privacy.
For the effectiveness of the issue, let's begin with supply chain disruption. The intervention involved diversifying manufacturing away from China to India and Vietnam, localizing production in Texas, and investing in digital management system. So, how effective was this? In my assessment, this intervention was highly effective. The evidence speaks for itself. By 2025, 25% of all iPhones were being assembled in India, and Apple tripled its number of suppliers in Vietnam to over 40. This significantly reduced Apple's over-reliance on China, making the supply chain much more resilient to future disruption like pandemics or trade tension. The Mac Pro facility in Texas also improved local supply chain efficiency and reduced vulnerability to international trade issues. However, we must acknowledge a limitation. Apple is still vulnerable to specialized material shortage, such as the recent glass cloth crisis affecting semiconductor production. This showed that while the intervention was successful in addressing labor and geopolitical risks, it cannot eliminate all supply chain risks. Now moving to innovation and competitive challenge. The intervention here include partnering with Google Gemini to fix Siri, launching a premium foldable iPhone by 2026, and focusing on privacy-first AI. So how effective were these? In my assessment, the results are mixed. First, the Google Gemini partnership was partially effective. It instantly improved Siri's conventional AI capabilities, which was a smart short-term fix. However, this creates a long-term vulnerability. Apple is now dependent on a key competitor for a core technology. This is essentially a borrow-bring solution, which is not suitable. Second, the premium iPhone Fold launch is too early to judge. The product has not yet been launched. While the perfection over speed strategy is sound, it remains an unproven gamble in a market already crowded with foldable from Samsung and Huawei. And lastly, this is the real success story, which is Apple Privacy First AI. This Apple Privacy First AI approach has been highly effective. By processing AI directly on the device and using secure private cloud compute, Apple offers something competitors like Google and Samsung cannot easily replicate. This is a powerful competitive advantage that builds customer loyalty and trust. So based on the analysis, here are my recommendations for improvement. First, Apple must urgently accelerate its in-house AI development to reduce reliance on Google Gemini. Second, they need to secure supply chain for critical material like advanced glass cloth to prevent new bottlenecks. Third, they should double down on monetizing their privacy-first AI to attract developers and enterprise users. And lastly, they should manage expectation around the foldable iPhone launch to avoid disappointing customers.
In conclusion, the COVID-19 pandemic created major challenges for Apple, particularly through supply chain disruption, retail store closure, and increasing competition. This issue affected product availability, and customer experience. However, Apple responded effectively by accelerating its digital transformation. The company expanded its online services, improved customer support, and strengthened its supply chain and operational management. As a result, Apple was able to recover quickly, continue meeting customer demand, and maintain its position as one of the world's leading technology companies. Overall, Apple's experience showed that innovation, adaptability, and strong crisis management are essential for overcoming unexpected global challenges.